Christopher asks, do you ever feel like Protestantism is creeping into the Catholic Church? The guy you work with sometimes on YouTube, Reason and Theology, does a great job showing some concerning things. For example, Germany, charismatic movement, etc.
Shout out to Michael Lofton. I had a good conversation with him just last night over the phone. Michael Lofton is the best. Everyone go and subscribe to Michael Lofton. Michael Lofton, we don't deserve him. Michael Lofton is, he's the best of us. He's the best. He's special. Everyone go and check out Michael Lofton, Reason and Theology. Subscribe, support him because he's special. He's so special. So is Protestantism creeping into the church?
Before you answer that, I saw a video recently by Gospel Simplicity.
Uh-huh.
He did a video review of a megachurch, a Catholic megachurch.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. I watched that. Yeah.
You saw that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is that concerning for you?
No, and let me tell you why. Because there's goodness, truth, and there's beauty. Even in Protestantism, even in non-Christian religions, you can find goodness, truth, and beauty to some extent, right? The fullness of goodness, truth, and beauty is found in Christianity, particularly in the Catholic Church. It has all of it, right? If there's anything that's good or true or beautiful about any of those other, if you want to call them traditions or belief systems, you can find those things you will find those things in the Catholic Church. So when it comes to like liturgies, when it comes to the way that the gospel is shared, the way that evangelism is done in the 21st century context, in an American 21st century context, maybe it makes sense if the Catholic Church is able to go into the pagan world and is able to meet the pagans where they are and is able to actually use what they know and what they understand to communicate the gospel to them. Why can't the Catholic Church go into a Protestant context, into a 21st century American context, and meet them where they are and use the things that they know that are good, true, and beautiful, that don't have any error in them, right? To bring them to the fullness of the truth, right? So even if we don't like that mega church and the way that they celebrate, even if we don't like it, and trust me, I get it. I understand. I totally get it. Give me Gregorian chant all day, baby. Give me good Greek, give me good Byzantine chant all day. That's just a personal preference. However, if we are one church and we are united in matters of doctrine, matters of worship, and matters of governance, meaning that we go to that Catholic megachurch, which is super weird, right? It's super weird. But guess what? Everyone there, everyone that goes to that church is obedient to the Catholic bishop, who is in communion with the Pope of Rome. And we're all obedient to the Pope of Rome. And we all believe the same things. We all believe the same doctrines. We all hold to the same dogmas. And that Eucharist that is happening there is not only is it valid, but it's licit. And I can validly and licitly receive the Eucharist there. And the members of that parish can validly and licitly receive the Eucharist at my Byzantine church. We're one church. I can't hate on it. It might not be the way that I like to worship, but that's fine. If there's faithful Catholics there that are faithful to the deposit of faith, faithful to the local bishop, faithful to the Pope, and we all believe the same things, then all of the, everything having to do like liturgically, all of that is accidental. What is essential is the liturgy of the Word, the liturgy of the Eucharist. And if you can go to that Catholic megachurch and go there and be scandalized, you're probably going to be scandalized if you were to hop into a time machine and go to the liturgy of the apostles, where it was literally agape feast, the love feast, and they were you'd be there and you'd be so scandalized and so shocked by how they celebrated the liturgy there. So if the liturgy can change, and the liturgy can develop, and the liturgy can be really used as an instrument to cater to the needs of a certain type of people in a certain population, in a certain group, for them to be able to understand the mysteries of the faith, its fullness. Can't hate on it, bro. I can't say, oh no, I would never go there, because once you do that, if you say, oh, I would never go to that Catholic mega church where they do all of these weird things, and I would never receive the Eucharist there. Guess what, brother? You're now in schism. You're now in schism. Watch it. Be cool. Be cool. Be careful. Remember, the liturgy is not our property. Liturgy is not our property. It's the property of the church. And it's a gift that the church gives us. So be cool. You know, in the same way, if I love the Latin Mass, and I tell someone that goes to we're Byzantines. We go to the Byzantine church. If I'm a Byzantine, and I tell someone that goes to the Latin Mass, or someone that goes to the Novus Ordo, you shouldn't be going to the Roman Rite. Ew, the Roman Rite, that's weird. Come over here to the Byzantine Rite. If I tell them that, and I say, don't go to the Roman Rite, and I'm encouraging them to not go to the Roman Rite and to come here instead, I'm a schismatic. Doesn't work that way. If the church has a legitimately promulgated liturgy, or a legitimately promulgated expression of a liturgy, who are we to say ew, or that's gross? So and you can say that's weird. I don't get it, but you know what? You can't. So out of principle, you can't hate on it. You know.
You would think that it's a strength of the Catholic Church that there's something for everyone.
Because it means it's universal, right? So, for example, like my parents, my dad, one time he went to the Byzantine church with me. He didn't like it, bro. He was like, nah, like I'm not down. Like I'm.
If you had taken me to the Eastern Catholic Church a couple years before you did, I would have hated it.
Yeah, you would have been like,
I would have hated it.
Yeah, you'd have been like 2 hours here.
Yeah, I would have been like, dude, don't take me here again.
Yeah.
But now it's funny because now I think the Divine Liturgy is the pinnacle of the worship experience. Yeah. And that's just my opinion. Someone might say the same thing about the TLM. I think it's just a preference. I think the Divine Liturgy is the pinnacle of the human worship experience in a liturgical context.
So here's what's so crazy, right? You know, I love the Divine Liturgy. I love the Byzantine Divine Liturgy.
I personally think it's superior to the TLM, but as a preference.
And that's fine. That's perfect. That's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. I can say that the Missal of 1962 is superior to the liturgy of the Byzantine liturgy, right? Of St. John Chrysostom. And that's just my own personal opinion, my own personal preference. That's fine. And you know this.
But we can both say the Novus Ordo is inferior.
well, you know what's crazy? You know what I'm about to say, because we went to a Novus Ordo when we were in Omaha.
Yeah.
And that Novus Ordo that we went to, I actually enjoyed that more than like the Missal of 1962, the way that they celebrated it.
Me too. I think it's better than the Latin Mass.
You couldn't tell it apart. You couldn't even tell it apart. It was perfect. I'm like, this is perfect. This is perfect. This is how it should be done. And again, it's just a matter of preference, right? If somebody loves the Missal of 1962 more than the Byzantine Rite, more than the Novus Ordo, more than anything, brother, you go to the Missal of 1962 and you go there and you participate and you fall in love with our Lord there and you worship God there. God bless you, brother. God, you go to the Latin Mass. You go there. If that's where God is calling you, you go to the Latin Mass. If God is calling you, go to the Byzantine Divine Liturgy. You go to the Byzantine Divine Liturgy and you worship the Holy Trinity, and God bless you. If God is calling you there, go there. If God is calling you, go to the Novus Ordo. You go to the Novus Ordo and you worship the Holy Trinity. If God is calling you to go to the super cool Novus Ordo in that church in Omaha, Nebraska, that is like the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, God bless you. You go there and you worship God, right?
St. Peter's Catholic Church.
Shout out to St. Peter's Catholic Church. We gotta go there again, cool. Like do like a tour, and bro, if God is calling you to go to that crazy Catholic megachurch was it in Chicago? Somewhere in Chicago, I can't remember. No, it wasn't in Chicago. Maryland? I forget where it was, but if God is calling you to that, Ruslan sent me that. I gotta text him back. If God is calling you to go there, God bless you, brother. The beautiful thing about being Catholic is that we're united in doctrine, in worship, meaning that I could go to any of these and receive the Eucharist and I'm chilling, right? We're united in governance. We should not be judging each other. We should not be judging each other based on what liturgical purposes we have. Because there's people, bro, there's Romans that don't like the Byzantine liturgy, right? like not out of principle, saying like, oh, it's wrong to worship that way. No, it's just them personally.
Yeah.
It's hard for them, right? Just like there's Byzantines that they have a hard time even at the Latin Mass, and for them it's like, this is hard for me. That's fine. You don't need to go to the Latin Mass. Stay at the Byzantine liturgy. Just like there's Romans that love the Latin Mass and they have a really hard time at the Novus Ordo. That's fine. You stay at the Latin Mass. Just like there's people that go to the Novus Ordo that have a really hard time at the Latin Mass. That's fine. Stay at the Novus Ordo. The beautiful thing is that there's something for everybody, and we're all still one. We're still united in doctrine, worship, governance, and I am wrong for me to go and tell the Catholic like, oh, you shouldn't like going to that Catholic megachurch. No, I'm wrong. I'm a schismatic. Can't do it.
I think the challenge is that we would want,
Yeah.
or I would like to see more, more liturgical diversity, like more Latin masses available,
Right.
and more divine liturgies available.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, you know what's so crazy? So first of all, hopefully the schism between East and West ends this year. That'd be really cool in November, because now all of a sudden we can go to all of the beautiful Greek Orthodox churches, and they will now be Catholic churches in communion with the Catholic Church, and we can go there, make those our home parishes, receive the Eucharist there. If you want to be Greek, get down with the Greek liturgy. God bless you. Go do it. Go flourish. Wherever God is calling you, go flourish there. And to this day, I always say the most beautiful liturgy that I've ever seen. Ever. It's not a Novus Ordo. It's not a 1962 missal. It's not the Byzantine Divine Liturgy. It's not the cool Novus Ordo from Omaha, Nebraska. The most beautiful liturgy that I've probably will ever see in my life is the Armenian liturgy, brother. I'm sorry, but the Armenian liturgy, bro. That's
The divine liturgy is the
Armenian divine
pinnacle.
liturgy, brother, is the most for me personally. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
Because you haven't gone to Father Josiah's church in Riverside.
Brother, I have been to beautiful
when you're there,
Byzantine.
it's like I was literally like I'm in the presence of the heavenly choir. Like I'm in the presence of the heavenly angels. Like,
when I was there at the Armenian liturgy, bro, I was like, yo, like, what is like? Trust me, bro. Like, I know I've seen a beautiful Greek liturgy. I know how it is.
These are the advantages of the apostolic churches and their liturgies. Is that
right?
Are you looking for your water?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Is that it predisposes you and it facilitates the feeling that heaven is touching earth at this moment.
Right.
The problem, unfortunately, with the Novus Ordos and the mega churches is that it's not facilitating that.
Yeah.
In that sense, I mean, I think that might be subjective, but it's very close to being objective.
Mm-hmm.
It's very close to that line of saying, of course, the divine liturgy facilitates that reverence of we're in the presence of the holy mysteries.
Right.
Heaven is now touching earth at this very moment.
Yeah.
We are now in unison with the heavenly Jerusalem at this time, at the heavenly in the heavenly presence.
Right.
The church is one in this moment.
Right. One with heaven. Right.
It's hard to say that at the Novus Ordo. Like
and you know what's so crazy? And I know to us personally it might be crazy for someone to say this, but it's true. And hey, we can't, because we can say that about when we go to the Byzantine liturgy, bro. There are Novus Ordo Catholics, brother, and I don't like using that Novus Ordo Catholic. That's so clicky. There are Catholics that like to go to the Novus Ordo liturgy, that they will go to a Byzantine Divine Liturgy or even to like a Latin Mass
and not feel that,
and they're like, I don't know, like this
true.
doesn't do anything for me. And you know what? Who are we to if we can be so like, oh no, you need to like our style of now we're becoming like Pharisees in a sense. Yeah. So if I will never tell anyone, oh, you need to go to the Byzantine Divine Liturgy, or you need to go to the Armenian Liturgy, or you need to go to the Latin Mass of the Missal of 1962 or a pre-55 liturgy. I always just say you need to go to a Catholic church. That's what you need to do. You go to where you can receive the Eucharist validly and licitly, and as long as you got that, brother, everything else is just extra. Because Matt Fradd says this. Matt Fradd says, I don't deserve a beautiful liturgy. I deserve hell. I don't deserve to go to I don't deserve to see a beautiful liturgy. No, I don't deserve that. I deserve to go to hell.
Yeah.
I deserve to burn in hell. That's what I deserve. Right? And at the same time, on the other side, you could say, well, the liturgy isn't about you, it's about God. And the liturgy is for God. Liturgy means holy work, right? The work of the people. So the liturgy is how we worship God. We want to worship God in the most excellent way. And that's, now we're onto something. If I'm going to the liturgy because I deserve a good liturgy, this makes me feel good.
Yeah.
No, you've got it wrong. What you want to do is you want to say, let me worship God in the most excellent way possible. Let me give God all of the honor and all of the glory that's already his to begin with. And I want to worship him in a way that reflects that honor and glory. And if I could do that most excellently at the Byzantine Divine Liturgy or the Armenian Divine Liturgy or at the Latin Mass, Missal of 62, or at the Novus Ordo or at the Novus Ordo in Omaha, Nebraska, right? Praise God. It's all about giving God that excellence in worship.
Yeah. Well, I guess that to your point, I would say there are advantages. There are distinct advantages to participating in a reverent liturgy. Like I said, it does predispose you to receiving and being in the presence of the holy mysteries.
Right.
And also the hymnography. And I was talking to Sarah from Hamilton about this. The hymnography, it teaches you theology.
Right.
Like you're learning these biblical precepts through the hymns. Yeah. And where you might not get as much of that at the Novus Ordo, where you're being exposed to like worship music.
Right.
That's very Protestantized.
Right.
And I think I told you, at the Byzantine church, we do the sign of the cross like 500 times. And I went to the Novus Ordo and, we do the sign of the cross during the procession when they're walking up with the gospel and the cross. And I did that at the Novus Ordo. And then during the homily, the priest made it a point to say to everyone, hey guys, we only do the sign of the cross 2 times in this mass. Right. And he was pretty much saying like, stop doing the sign of the cross. Like when I'm walking in. And I'm like, I mean,
all you got to do is look up, it's called the GIRM, GIRM. It's the General Instruction of the Roman Missal. If you look up the General Instruction of the Roman Missal, like just literally follow like the Roman Missal, like you could have it. And it'll tell you, like in the Latin, if you look up like a 1962 Roman Missal, it'll tell you all of the times that you make the sign of the cross. You make the sign of the cross a bunch of times if you go to like a Latin Mass, a 62 liturgy. I'm going to have to look into the Roman Missal of the Novus Ordo Roman Missal where it's the general instruction that it shows you like when and where to make the sign of the cross. He could be right. Another thing is that when you go to like a liturgy, right? Like how they say like when in Rome do as the Romans do.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
If you're at a Novus Ordo, don't try and turn the Novus Ordo into the Latin Mass, or don't try and turn the Novus Ordo into the Byzantine Divine Liturgy, right? Don't start chanting in Greek if you're at a Novus Ordo, right?
That's also
if you're at a Latin Mass, don't try to turn the Latin Mass into the Novus Ordo. Don't start trying to say the Pater Noster in English. You're at the Latin Mass, baby. You say it in Latin, right?
That can also be pride too.
And it can be,
I want to show people.
I want to show people that I'm superior because I know.
I
Latin.
do the sign of the cross to the right, and you guys are doing it to the left.
We're so
Look
superior.
At me, I got my prayer rope right here, and you guys have your rosaries.
That can be a source of pride. That's true. Yeah, don't let it be a source of pride. Like I said, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. If you're at a Novus Ordo, respect the liturgy that you're in, and you're there at a Novus Ordo. Don't try and turn it into something else.
Yeah, that's true.
It's all about humility.
Yeah,
you always want to do things with humility. Me, just because it's a force of habit. Even if I'm at a Roman liturgy, I always make the sign of the cross the way that the Greeks do it. It's just a force of habit. It's hard to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I always think about this. We have in the Catholic Church, we have priests that are bi-ritual, that they celebrate both the Roman, right, in both forms,
like
Novus
Father
Ordo
Michael O'Loughlin.
By ritual. They'll celebrate the Byzantine Divine Liturgy, but then they can also celebrate the extraordinary form of the Roman Rite. So the Latin Mass, the 62 Missal, they can celebrate the Novus Ordo. When you see, like for example, like the great Father Tyler Strand, who is a Byzantine priest, but he's by ritual. He has faculties to celebrate the Roman Rite, both in the ordinary and extraordinary form. Whenever I would watch Father Tyler celebrate the Latin Mass, he would make the sign of the cross how the Latins do it. He doesn't try to Byzantinize the Latin liturgy.
Yeah.
And whenever he would celebrate the Novus Ordo, he would celebrate the Novus Ordo according to the way that the Novus Ordo is according to the rubrics. He didn't try to 62 missal the 1969 missal. He just stuck to what the rubrics said, and he didn't try to insert his own.
I think he also did a Coptic liturgy, and he said you have to take off your shoes.
Yeah, and you do, like so when in Rome, do it as the Romans. When in Alexandria, do it like the Alexandrians. You know what I mean? Because the whole point is that we, together as a group, that we are worshiping in unison, that we're doing something together. That you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For example, in the Byzantine liturgy, you don't kneel. You don't kneel. If you go to a Byzantine liturgy and you kneel during the consecration because you're a Latin, you're a Roman, and that's just what you do, it can be distracting to people that are not Byzantine. Where a Roman is in there and a Roman is doing like the Roman things, that it's like it can be, because especially and it can be insensitive, because kneeling to Byzantines means that you're doing penance. So when you kneel during the consecration, a Byzantine can look at you and say, "Hey, like, is this penance to you to be here for the Eucharist? Like, is this penance? Like, this is not penance. You're not doing penance right now. You're worshiping God right now. This is not penance." So it can be insensitive, right? I mean, if you're in the West here, if you're here in the United States, we get it. Even if you're a Byzantine Catholic, you understand that when somebody kneels during the consecration, they don't mean it as it's penance. That's how they show reverence.
Right. Although I have kneeled at a Greek Orthodox liturgy. There
are some Greeks, and that's because they've become westernized.
Yeah.
And that's fine. That's fine. Let things happen naturally, organically. But the point is that you want to do what everyone else is doing because you want it to be uniform. You want it to be you want to be one. You want to be one with the body in that local parish, that local congregation. You want to be one. So you want to do all of the same things together. Unless it's holding hands during the Pater Noster, I don't like holding. I'm not going to do that. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I won't sing at the Novus Ordo either. I'm not going to put my hands in the air. I'm not doing that.
I'm not. It's just those are some things that I'm sorry. Like I guess I'll hold your hand if you, but it's I'm not really a holding hands kind of guy. And here's the thing, even like a lot of like the ancient liturgies, there was hand holding there too. So it's not but holding hands isn't even in the rubrics of the Novus Ordo. So it's kind of like. The important thing is that we're all. I think that everybody, if you're a Roman Catholic, read the general instruction of the Roman Missal. If you're a Byzantine Catholic, read the you know what it's called more than me. The liturgical service book. The liturgical service book that is called the. I cannot think of the Greek name.
I don't know.
It's we see it in the gift shop every time we're in there, spending hours. Every single Sunday we go to the gift shop and we see it and we spend hours in there looking at all the books.
I know what you're talking about. I just don't.
Yeah. Familiarize yourself and maybe the pastor. It would be a good idea for like the pastor of every parish to say, "Hey, let's all brush up on the liturgical rubric so that we can all be and make it an occasion for catechesis." Be like, "Hey guys, let's all get together. Let's go through the missal." And let's re-catechize ourselves so that we can remind ourselves of why we would do what we do to make sure everyone's on the same page. Make it an occasion to build community. Let's build community together. Let's re-educate ourselves. Let's re-catechize ourselves on the liturgy, the meaning of the liturgy, why we do what we do. And that way we can all be on the same page. I think that's a beautiful thing. Yeah. I think that's something that parishes should do. Let's all go through it. That way we can all, because sometimes we fight with each other, like, we're not supposed to do this at this time, or we're supposed to do this at this time. Yeah. Are we supposed to hold hands or not? Are we supposed to raise our hands up or not? What are we supposed to do? All we got to do is let's go back to the rubrics, and let's see what the rubrics say, and boom, and let's just do what the rubrics say, and that's it. Also,
we have a habit of like, it goes back to the pride thing. Like sometimes we're too fixated on what somebody else is doing. Like, if you're at the Byzantine Divine Liturgy, obviously you do the sign of the cross every time the Holy Trinity is mentioned, the Father, Son, Holy Spirit.
Right.
And I don't know if this happens, but I can imagine that somebody might be like, "Oh, he didn't do the sign of the cross that time."
Yeah, like what's wrong with this guy? Yeah, like what's wrong with this guy? Why didn't he cross himself? What's wrong with this guy? I know, right?
He did this wrong, or he bent over wrong, or he didn't do it at this time.
It's so easy to But if you're really participating in the mysteries, you shouldn't be really be focused unless there's something going on that is just like a distraction. That's like, bro, like I can't not notice this, right? it always comes back down to this. Remember that the liturgy, whatever liturgy we're talking about, Novus Ordo, 62 Missal, Byzantine liturgy, the Armenian liturgy, whatever it is, it's not our property.
Right.
The liturgy doesn't belong to me. It's not the property of the individual person sitting in the pew. It's not even the property of the laity. It is the property of the church, and the church, binds us to participate in the worship of God in this particular way, so that it's uniform, so that it's one, so that we are all doing the same things. The church has the authority to bind us to these things, and if the church makes changes to it, it's the property of the church. The church has the authority to make changes to it, right? Whether for good or for bad.
Like,
say it again.
How much should we be involved in, like, if we want to see change? Let's say somebody goes to Novus Ordo, and they want to inspire in a positive way. That like they want to go up to the pastor and say, "Hey, is there a way we can start doing X? Is there a way we can start doing the rosary before the liturgy?"
Yes, absolutely, absolutely, yeah. See, so here's the way that it works is that the liturgy is the property of the church, and the purpose of it is for God to be worshipped in the most excellent way possible, while at the same time predisposing those who are there in the worship to be able to lose themselves in the worship, in the mysteries. It's for God, but it's supposed to help guide us to be able to easily worship God, right? So that's what it's supposed to do, both of those things, right? It's not just it's entirely focused on God, and I don't care how you feel about it.
Right.
No. It's both. It's we're gonna worship God together in a way that makes the most sense to us, that will allow us to really truly be participants to participate in the worship, right? To make sure that every individual person is actually worshiping God with all that they have. The laity can absolutely say, go to their pastor and say, "Father, is it okay if we start a ministry here where we before the mass starts, so we all come together and we all pray the rosary together, and we can." And actually, I don't even it wouldn't hurt to ask, but I did that when I was at the Novus Ordo parish that I belonged to before I started going to the because I was going to the Latin Mass parish, and then I started going to the Byzantine parish. At the Novus Ordo parish that I grew up going to, actually, me and Brian, my other godson, we would go in there and we would start praying the rosary. We would sit in the front pew and we would start praying the rosary before the mass started. And a lot of people liked it. They're like, "Hey, that's cool to see two young men that are that they're doing that and they're seeing that."
Right.
Do it, and especially with the permission of the pastor. I'm sure that the pastor would love that.
Yeah.
Like if you went to your pastor and you said, "Father, would I be able to pray the rosary in a group?" And that pastor would probably cry and be like, "Of course, you don't have to ask me.
Yeah.
Go do it. Please go do it. That's so beautiful." Yeah, do it. And the important thing is to invite everyone to do it. Invite people. Don't go and just do it yourself. Don't go and just kneel and make a spectacle of yourself. And I'm going to be the only one that's going to pray the rosary. No, invite everyone. Invite everyone. Make an announcement. Be like, "Hey, we're going to pray the rosary before the mass begins. For anyone that likes to participate, participate with us. We could all pray together." Invite everybody. Don't make it I'm the only one that does this. Me and my close circle of friends, we pray the rosary before the mass because we're so holy, and get everyone involved. Yeah. Let's all do it together. It's cooler that way. If you're doing it by yourself and you're doing it out of pride and you're doing it because you want to show off, that's lame.
Yeah.
No, do it because you want everyone to prepare themselves to fall in love with our Lord Jesus Christ during the liturgy. That's what the liturgy is for. The liturgy is so that we present perfect worship to God, but also to help us fall in love with Him. Fall in love with Him and fall in love with worshiping God. Just like a husband. I know that you love doing nice things for your wife. You love serving your wife. You love serving your kids. I know you would do anything for your wife and kids. Worship is I would do anything for my God, and I want to do it in the best. I want to make Him happy, just like I want to make my wife happy, my kids happy. I want to make my God happy. So I'm gonna, and I actually love doing it. Like I love doing nice things for my wife, my kids. I love worshiping God in the best way possible, and that's what the liturgies. It's supposed to be built into the liturgy to help people, predispose them to make the worship easy, to make it appealing, to make it something that you want to do because you're falling in love with God in the liturgy. You're falling in love as it's happening. That's what the liturgy is supposed to be. So That's what all liturgies should strive to be, All liturgies should strive to be that, and the people that are participating in those liturgies don't try and turn that liturgy into something that it's not, that it wasn't meant to be in the beginning.
Right.
Participate according to what the liturgical rubric is telling you to do. And again, I think that's a great thing that pastors should maybe consider doing is, let's maybe start a ministry where maybe we all come together as a church and we all go through the missal and we remind ourselves of why we do what we do. And that's an easy way for everyone to get on the same page, because like in that situation that you had, right, where you're doing something and the priest is like, hey everyone, just reminding you, and he's all looking at you side eye, like, you only make the sign of the cross twice, right? Maybe a better way to do it would have been for him to say, hey guys, I just had a great idea. I want to invite everybody to, we'll figure out the timing, the dates of it later. Let's all come together and let's all go through the missal. Let's all go through the rubrics so we can actually see.
Well, that's what he's trying to do.
You know what I mean?
During the homilies.
Yeah.
So he does that during the homilies.
And that's, hey, you know what? Maybe the homily is a good way to do it, right?
Yeah.
But there's a way that you deliver that message with care as a pastor, with, hey guys, when was the last time you guys read the liturgical rubrics? Let's go through it together. Let's check this out because this is so cool, and the theological significance of this, and do it. Make it something that people, don't beat people over the head with the liturgical rubrics. Invite people. Be like, hey, you guys could learn so much reading the liturgical rubrics. Come and check them out. You're going to love this. You're going to fall in love. You should be able to read the liturgical rubrics. When I read the Missal of 1962, the 62 liturgical rubrics, I fall in love, man. I fall in love. When I read the liturgical rubrics for the Byzantine Divine Liturgy.
It's so beautiful.
Oh,
it's
brother,
so beautiful.
I fall in love.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is poetry.
Yeah.
This is so beautiful, right? So let's get back to those so that we can continue to fall in love, man. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about, And let's not. If I'm a Byzantine Catholic, I should never ever go to a Latin Catholic and say, I love God more than you,
Right.
because I worship Him in a much better way.
Right.
If I'm a Latin Catholic, I should never go to a Byzantine Catholic or any Eastern Catholic and say, I love God more than you. My love and my worship that I give to God is far superior to the way, if I go to the Latin Mass, and I love the Latin Mass, guys, I love the Latin Mass, I should never go to someone that goes to the Novus Ordo and say, I love God more than you, and the worship that I give to God is far superior to the worship you give to God. And if I'm a Novus Ordo Catholic, I should never go to a Latin Mass Catholic and say, I love God more than you, and the worship that I give God is far superior, and than the worship that you give to God. No, that right there is what leads to schism. That is a schismatic mentality. We got to stop with that. No, stop with that. The only thing that should matter is that we are worshiping God validly and licitly. That's it, and that we're putting all of our heart and soul into it, wherever we are, whatever liturgy we end up at. Actually participate. Let yourself fall into the mystery so you fall in love. That's it.
Yeah. And we have the opportunity to, if you like something, you have the opportunity to go to that preference. So Father Christian Kappas, he was on with Pints of Aquinas, Pints of Aquinas, and he was saying how when I think he was bi-ritual, he was a Latin rite priest, and he became Byzantine Catholic, and he was talking about how he was put in charge of this Byzantine parish, and his parishioners came to him and said, hey, can we start doing Stations of the Cross here? And he said, hey, I wasn't really sent here to do these types of devotions, but if you want Stations of the Cross, I will go with you to the Latin parish, and we'll do it. We'll do it there. But here, we're trying to maintain the Eastern,
Yeah, and here's the cool thing. Let's say that, like, if you're like a Byzantine pastor, right? And like let's say I was a priest and I was a pastor at a Byzantine church, and I had a parishioner or a group of parishioners come up to me and say, hey, Father, I would love to do Stations of the Cross here. And I would say, you know what, that sounds like a great idea, Stations of the Cross. But I said, you know what, there's a Latin church right down the street, and they do Stations of the Cross. I have a great idea. Let's all get together, all of us Greeks, all of us Ruthenians, all of us Byzantines. Let's all together as a church. Let's go over there during Lent when they're doing Stations of the Cross so that our churches can come together. And then when we're there with them, let's invite them and tell
The
them that whenever they want to
pre-sanctified
come
liturgy.
and check out,
Yeah.
the pre-sanctified liturgy here, that they can come and they can come. And that is how you build unity. That's how you build unity. It's not about, let me isolate myself and let me do things just all alone with my little small. No, let's all get together because we're all one church. Let's all get together and let's all learn from each other. And that's so cool that in the Catholic Church, you could be a Latin 1 week, you could be a Byzantine the next week, in Armenian the next week, in Alexandria, and the week after that, a Syriac after that.
Yeah.
You could do it all because we're one church. That's the cool part.
Every devotion, every tradition is rich and valuable for a reason. And when you slander a certain type of worship,
You become prideful.
but know that you're also attacking perhaps a saint that you like. So like if you're like, I don't really like the Alexandrians or like the Coptic or
And then you're like that Athanasius guy.
Now you just said something
you're
about
like, bro, come
Saint
on.
Athanasius, Saint
Exactly.
Cyril,
Yeah.
Saint Anthony of Egypt.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Or if you're like, I don't like the Latins, but
No,
you got Saint
bro, we're one
Augustine,
church. We're
you
one
got
church. Come on.
Pope Saint Gregory the Great. You
Yes.
got, all these people. Saint
Yes.
Benedict. I know Saint
Yes.
Benedict is revered by both East and West.
Yes.
Or vice versa. You say something about Saint John Chrysostom.
Yeah. Come on.
Or Saint Basil.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's cool. There's a lot to appreciate. There's something to appreciate in every aspect of.
Yeah, and if you're a Catholic, you can appreciate all of it. You can go to all of them, And I think that's a really good idea to have like the Byzantine parishes or or like even like it just within the Roman Rite, have like Novus Ordo parishes, the priests there at the Novus Ordo, it would be a beautiful thing to encourage the parishioners to, hey, go and check out the Latin Mass, go and check out the Missal of 62, go enjoy, go fall in love, and then when you come back here, maybe we can incorporate a little bit of that here. If you want to do some Latin chant, because the rubrics allow me to do Latin chant here.
Yeah.
So for example, let's say that a pastor, like a Latin at a Roman, at a Novus Ordo parish, that he wants to, just according to the rubrics, he wants to make the worship there more in line with the rubrics, right, of the Missal of 69, and maybe a good way to do that is to encourage his parishioners to go and check out the Latin Mass. Maybe if there's a Latin Mass down the street, go and check it out. You're gonna love it. Go and check it out, and then come back here and tell me what you think. And then they'll come back and be like, Father, why don't we do that here? And be like, hey, guess what? We can, because the liturgical rubrics say that we can. You guys liked it? Perfect. Let's do it over here then. Let's start using, who here wants to chant in the choir? Do you guys want to chant? You want to try doing some of this stuff in Latin? Let's do it. And that it makes it exciting. It makes it for the parishioners like, hey, this is cool. Like there's something going on here, And the beautiful thing is that it can be done because the liturgical rubrics allow us already. Right? We're not going over the head of the bishop or doing something in secret. No, like we're doing what the rubrics allow us to do.
Right.
So yeah, man, it's the liturgical life of the church. It should be beautiful. It should be really Catholic, meaning universal, meaning it has, the expressions that there's something there for everybody, and everyone should be able to enjoy and not be judged by other Catholics for what rite they belong to or how they like to worship. As long as it's something that the church allows. It's an officially promulgated liturgy of the Catholic Church, and you're not abusing it. You're not like because liturgies can be abused, right? The Novus Ordo, we know that there's a huge problem with liturgical abuse in the Novus Ordo. Even like the reason that there was a switch from the Missal of 62 to the Missal that was eventually promulgated in 69 was because there were so many abuses that were happening in the Missal of 62. Like you hear stories of like people were saying that, yeah, I remember when I was, like before Vatican II, like our grandparents or whatever that were old, that were able to remember, like, yeah, when I was a kid and I was going to the Latin Mass, to the Missal of 62, it would be over in 20 minutes. They would do the whole thing in 20 minutes and just rush through it, and I didn't even know what was going on. So there was a lot of liturgical abuses that were happening in the Latin Mass as well before Vatican II even happened. So stick to the rubrics. Don't abuse the rubrics, right? Don't make it your property. It's not your property. Just be faithful to what the church has promulgated. That's it. And make it beautiful. Make it as beautiful as it can.
And I think the more you understand the liturgy, the more you appreciate it.
Yep.
I learned that from the Divine Liturgy. But when I was talking to Father Michael in our interview, he said that he's learned to appreciate the Novus Ordo because he's a biritual priest.
Right.
He's learned to appreciate it because now he understands what's actually taking place, and you know.
And you know what's so crazy, and I know that there's going to be a lot of, you know, and I love, you know, Catholics are not my enemies. I love all Catholics. I love if you go to the SSPX, I love you. If you're an SSPX Catholic, I love you.
There's one right down the street.
I know if you're an old Catholic, let's come back into full communion, baby. I love you. I want you, and I know you want me. Come on. So, you know, because there's been some rumblings online of people saying that I don't like, you know, that I don't like the Roman Catholics. No, not at all. I'm one of you guys. I'm still canonically Roman, okay? And a lot of people online have like to point that out, that I'm a canonically that I'm like LARPing, right? Yeah. I'm not LARPing. If you're allowed to go to a valid and illicit rite, right? You're allowed to do that no matter what rite you are. You can go to any rite, okay? It's not LARPing. That's a schismatic mentality. We got to stop it. What was the point that I was trying to make? A lot of people are going to get upset, but this is just true. The Novus Ordo, more than the Missal of 62, more than the Byzantine Divine Liturgy, more than the Armenian Liturgy, more than any of these liturgies, the Novus Ordo looks more like the liturgies of the first 300 years than any other liturgy that we have. And that's just a fact. As a matter of fact, even there's even Eastern Orthodox scholars that will say, like, yeah, the Novus Ordo looks more like the liturgy of the first 400 years than any of our liturgies now.
Yeah, Father Laurent Klingworth mentions that at the beginning of his Broken Body in the book. He said, he doesn't make the claim, but he said one could argue that it looks more like the early church.
And you can, if worship. You go and read like the descriptions of like the early liturgies of how they were doing it. Yeah. And it's like, yo, like this is.
So I didn't believe you, and then
like the Novus Ordo. You never believe me, bro. You never believe me. You're always like, yeah.
And then you take a look at you mentioned this. You take a look at the earliest church that broke away, the Assyrians.
Yeah.
And their worship looks like the Novus Ordo.
Yeah. Look up an Assyrian liturgy, not a Chaldean liturgy, like an Assyrian Church of the East, and how they worship, and you're like, oh, this is interesting.
But even the Chaldean Catholic Church, I don't know if it's because it was influenced by the Catholic presence of it.
The Chaldean Catholic Church did have a lot of Latin influence.
Oh, okay. Because I was when we were there, I was like, it looks a lot just the Station of the Cross, like they have the pews, like it looks a lot like.
Yeah, but even the Assyrian Church of the East,
they use unleavened bread.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just like the Catholics.
Yeah.
And they administer the communion.
Just how they do it at the Novus Ordo, and this is a Chaldean church. But yeah, even like the Assyrian Church of the East, you go and you look up their liturgies, and you're like, oh wow, this is actually very close to the Novus Ordo. And you're like, yeah, because the Novus Ordo actually looks more like the liturgies of the first 400 years, man. Like it's just a fact, and there's nothing wrong with that.
We just got to get the guitars out.
I know. Yeah, you're right. They didn't have guitars. They didn't have, not that I know of. I don't think they had guitars during in the first 400 years. Yeah, you're right. Get the guitars out and just put some Gregorian chant in the Novus Ordo. We'd be good to go, baby. The little Ad Orientem. You know what I mean? Maybe bring back the altar rails. You know what I'm saying? Maybe receive on your knees, on the tongue. And again, the church allows you. The church says that you can receive on the hand. And the Christians for the first 800 years, that was the way that a lot of Christians received the Eucharist, was on the hand. That's another fact that they don't like either, but it's just the truth. Guys, you don't need to fight against history. Like, history is what it is. You just look at it and you say, okay, it is what it is, cool. Well, I'm going to get down with that then. I just want to be consistent with history, consistent with what the church teaches us now, what the church has always taught. And when you see what was going on in the early church, you're like, okay, cool. I can appreciate the Novus Ordo now more. I can appreciate it because I can see that what they're doing is they're trying to take it back to, okay, I get it now. Yeah. I can't hate on that. It's not new. It's actually a lot older than some of the stuff that I thought was old.
I should have brought my copy of the Canons of the Quinisex Council. Yeah. Canon 101 of the Council of
Communion on the Head.
Trullo.
Yeah.
And it talks about how that's like early evidence of the communion being on the head.
Right. Yeah. It was even mandated there at Trullo, So, and it's cool, guys. It's cool. Like, let history take you where it's going to take you because it's objective. It's happened. It's crystallized. Let's just look at it. Let's take a fresh, objective look at the evidence. You see it? Okay, cool. I can't, in the same way that we were just talking about how you can't be a Byzantine Catholic judging other non-Byzantine Catholics or a Roman Catholic judging, non-Roman Catholics. In the same way, like if I'm a Latin Rite Catholic, if I'm a Roman Catholic, and I like to I receive the Eucharist on the tongue, kneeling, I can't judge a Catholic that receives on the hand. I can't do that. I can't judge him for that. I can't say I'm better than you because I receive on the tongue. I can't do that. No. Am I better than all of the early Christians in the first 800 years that received on the hand? Am I better than Saint Cyprian? Because Saint Cyprian received on the hand. Saint Cyprian talks about that explicitly. Am I better than him? Am I better than Saint Cyprian? No, I'm not better than Saint Cyprian. No way. No way. And he received on the hand. So no, man. I'm not.
I mean, a lot of it's preference too. Right?
Yeah, don't fall
like
into that.
My preference is how they did it at Father Nathan's church in Las Vegas at Our Lady of Wisdom.
The Italo Greeks, yeah.
They give you, they're holding it in their hand.
They're holding it, in their hand.
The leavened bread, and they put it in your mouth with their hand.
Yeah, they don't use a spoon.
The liturgical spoon for me is a little awkward for me.
Right. Yeah.
And especially this last time that I went to the one here, they gave me like 3 pieces of bread of the Eucharist, and they gave me a lot. They gave me a lot.
Like, this boy needs a full helping. Yeah. That's
and
funny.
that was my first time receiving actually with the liturgical spoon, and I thought they were gonna flick it because I was told they're gonna flick it into my mouth.
Yeah.
But he didn't flick it. He like kept it there. So I just put my whole mouth on it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think probably because it was your first time receiving in that way that you were just, it was a little. I think the more that you do it, you'll be just close your eyes and just back, and he'll know, okay, he has his eyes closed. I have to initiate.
Yeah. Well, there was just a lot going on too, and I had my kids, and I was making sure that they didn't give communion to my kids.
To the kids, right? Yeah.
Because
that happened before.
Because they just open their mouths, and I'm like, don't do that. Yeah. So I was just making sure like they just get a blessing and keep it moving. Yeah. So I was focused on that, and there's a lot going on.
Don't worry, bro. You'll get the hang of it.
That's funny.
Anyway, we're doing a Q&A, right? Are there any more questions?
Question.
Oh man, I think that right there is a whole YouTube video right there. What we just talked about, and it's an important one. Yeah.